Hey, Goddess. Welcome to this episode of the Hey Goddess podcast, where we are going to talk about ascension, integration, and DNA upgrades today. And what does that look like? And what does that mean for you? And I just want to introduce here my co host, Wendy Liu. She's a writer, a published author, a professional editor, a copywriter, a Reiki master, an all around energy magician, and a homeschool mom. And I feel so lucky that she just gave me her new book, Parenting Through Ascension. And I'm so excited to read it. It's amazing. To find out more about Wendy, please check out her website at wendy-liu.com. And a little bit about myself. I'm Angie K, Goddess CEO. I guide spiritual entrepreneurs to grow their gifts and receive soul-aligned wealth. I'm the author of bestseller Goddess CEO and Creation Codes Rise of the Goddess. Both are available on Amazon. I'm also a divine feminine embodiment and law of attraction coach and master sound activator. To find out more about my services, you can check out my website, angiek.world. And so
Beautiful.
we just want to hop into this topic. We've just been sitting here chatting
Yes.
about it for the last 20 minutes. And then we said, all right, this is time. Like we need to launch into recording what it is that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome to our podcast. And we have many other episodes if you want to check those out. And
Please, a
this is
whole
our
season
second
before this one.
season. Yes, second
Woohoo.
season, episode 2 of the second season. And Wendy and I were just chatting this morning, and we've both been experiencing integration symptoms. And so I just want to say right at the beginning of this podcast for all of our listeners, we are not medical doctors. And we do and we
We
do
will never
not
claim
treat,
to be.
diagnose, or cure any diseases or illnesses. So if you are experiencing something, please go and receive any sort of medical advice or attention that you're needing. We are only speaking energy. We speak about energy and we speak about how that energy affects us in this physical world. Okay. So we're going to share with you about what we know about integration and DNA upgrades as how they relate to ascension. And ascension actually means raising your vibration. And we are in a
Simple.
big, yes, it's very simple. We are in a big cycle of rapidly raising our vibration in our physical body on the
Mm-hmm.
planet right now. And so it's like if anyone that is on the planet right now is affected by the energies that are present for us right now, that are allowing the human body to raise its vibration up into a frequency that allows us to be more heart centered as a whole entire
Mm-hmm.
race of humanity, to be not living from a place of ego and mind, but to be in a more balanced expression of being heart centered. And so this is everyone is affected by this on the
No one
planet
is
right now,
exempt.
right? So
No one is
if you
no
decided to
one
be
is
here,
getting
you are
off.
part of this.
You're not getting out of this assignment, guys. You're not getting
Right.
out of it. To graduate, you have to do this one.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I actually I touch on it a little bit in Parenting Through Ascension too, is the whole we are feeling it in the body in a visceral way. Like a lot of people are having perhaps previous conditions or things that they already had but maybe flaring up. And so we wanted to touch on too, and we'll talk about it I'm sure throughout this episode, is self-care is so important right now. Self-care, like I always say, self-care. You want 4 things you should do right now: self-care, 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 self-care. Like we still really kind of suck at it as a humanity, women especially, although we are leading the way in getting it right. We are leading the way in teaching people and really just teaching by example. Like the only way, and I think Angie, you'll attest to this too, is the only way I was able to write my book in what, 3 months, less than 3 months, is because I allowed myself, I surrendered to the integration that was going on. I surrendered to my body adjusting to the new frequency. And we often think, when we go through the breakthrough, we upgrade. Okay, now we think we're going to be we're going to be able to fly like Neo in the Matrix, and it's just not true. The process is And we used to call it the desert, right? Where you feel like you're not moving forward. You kind of feel like nothing's going on. A lot of people will say that they don't feel their guides. They don't think their guides are communicating with them anymore. You're integrating. You're in an integration phase where you're just supposed to sit in it and feel it and let your body adjust. And so Epsom salt baths, right? Lots of clean, pure water. I like to put lemon in my water, keeps the kidneys, functioning properly. You and I were talking about other things that we're trying to incorporate or we're researching to incorporate into our daily lives just to ease the body's symptoms in healthy ways, right? In natural, healthy ways. And I've been moving a lot more. And so all these things, and just really embracing solitude, like, just allowing myself to be alone. And then, one day I was like, yeah, I'm going to start this book. And it just started pouring out of me during the integration phase. So anything is possible, but we have to really surrender to it and allow these things to happen. And I wanted to talk too about because I love, and this was not intuited by me, but a friend guided me through, a mutual friend of ours guided me through this meditation where I saw my DNA, the double helix, as two dragons, right, intertwined, and one is red and one is blue. And I named mine, and you can name yours, right? I gave mine names. And the blue I see as masculine and the red I see as feminine. And so you can talk to your DNA and say, hey guys, we need extra support here. Or I always tell my dragons, you're doing great. I'm grateful for you. Thank you. You're doing amazing. Let's, keep supporting the joints and the, whatever, because I'm in perimenopause. And so the stiff joints is a big thing in addition to ascension, right? And so talking to the DNA is huge too. And I think they go hand in hand, right? The integration, that's what's going on during integration is the DNA is unlocking, upgrading, up leveling, right? It's opening back up so that we can go with the planet on this ascension process. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And I think to even circle back to what's going on, like on a bigger scale in the current moment, is all the solar flares that we've had. And so
Yes.
that creates an uptick. Anytime we have that, that's more energy coming in that we need to integrate. And so, from the physical body perspective, all of this comes in. I love your description for this, and I'm just going to borrow this from you. I love how people will say, well, why now? Why are we in this huge evolution, like fastest evolution of humanity ever in this moment now, right? Like, why is it right now? Why is the
Mm-hmm.
age of Aquarius right now? Or however people want to look at that, like astrologically or whatever, right? Or in linear time. And it's
Mm-hmm.
because our planet moved into a place, or even our galaxy, right, in the solar system where it's receiving more light. Like we're actually closer to the sun. So we're receiving more light codes. So awakening becomes more possible. It's almost like we move out of the dark ages where there wasn't the circumstances and the energy just couldn't hold that kind of information, right? And so light is
Right.
information. So when we move into a place in the cosmos where we're able to receive more light, more information, right? Our DNA is able to upgrade because it can receive more information. So when the solar flares are happening, we're actually receiving information. We're receiving
Mm-hmm.
information to our DNA. It's speaking to your DNA, but there's an integration phase that happens, right? So things are opening up more, and then more rest is required. You just might, when solar flares are happening, watch, and you can even study the Schumann resonance, which I'll have you talk about
Mm-hmm.
after this. I would love to hear because I love hearing you talk about that. But when you're receiving, then your DNA has to go through its own upgrade process. And then the reflection of that is in your physical body, right? Because our
Right.
DNA is the energetic piece component of that. And then the physical body has to take all of its direction from your DNA. And so as that's upgrading, more and more of your junk DNA is being activated. So these are the parts that science has called junk, but this is actually your 12-strand DNA system, which is all of
Mm-hmm.
the things, the potentials that are available to the human body that we haven't been able to tap into previously or for a long time on this planet because of
Right.
where we were in the solar system. These things are all cycles. And so that's the point, is we're here in this moment for this potential that exists for ascension to happen very rapidly. Ascension being the evolution, and ascension being raising your frequency. And then that with that comes activating this dormant DNA becomes possible. So
Absolutely.
more rest is, so you might just feel exhausted when the
That
solar,
I'm exhausted just hearing about it,
yeah,
right?
right?
Like
It's
it's
like,
tiring just
oh
listening to
my
it.
gosh, right? But then more becomes possible. It just
Right.
opens up potential and possibility that wasn't available to you before. But I want you to
Hmm.
talk about, you always do the best on
Yeah.
Schumann
Well, and I
and
do
me.
follow, but I'm not an expert by any means, but I do follow a lot of people about it because I do find it fascinating. I'm Capricorn Sun, so I'm naturally more scientific with the way my brain works. And so real quick too, before I get into the Schumann, is I love talking about the solar flares and how they're part of this ascension because that's something tangible skeptics can look at. And even NASA, tracks these things. NASA has been tracking like how the planets have changed, how Earth has changed since the 70s. Like even NASA knows that there's an ascension going on. So if you're a skeptic, if you're thinking that, we're just woo woo and way out there, just remember that what we think of as magic is just science we haven't figured out yet, right? Like that's what they say.
Yes, I
And
love it.
so I love the solar flares topic because it gives those skeptics something to hold on to. It's like, yes, that's happening, and look it up and do your own research because it affects not only the planet, it affects our tech, it affects our physical bodies. And so the Schumann then comes in as, and I don't, to be honest, I probably should do some research on this only because it intrigues me, but I don't know when they started measuring this, but the Earth used to have a baseline frequency. Gaia herself used to have a baseline frequency, or it was a frequency that was being emitted, right? That we were absorbing of 7, what is it? Is it megahertz? Is that what it's measured in, I think?
I think so.
And so it was 7. 7 was the, it would go boop and then down and then boop, but 7 was kind of the median, right? All of a sudden, we're in, I think now I've seen it like spiking up into the hundreds, like 40. I think 40 something is like the median now. And so you cannot deny that something big is happening on this planet. And if it's happening on this planet, then it's happening in our galaxy. And if it's happening in our galaxy, then it's happening in the universe, right? It's like micro macro. It's like it's happening for the entire area at least of our universe where we're moving into that higher vibrational space. And like you said, more light. That is what ascension is being able to hold more light, right, in the physical body on our level, right? If we need, we like to keep it, down on the human level. Like Angie and I both know, that we're spirits, souls having a human experience, and we both have had that glimpse of the everything and nothing, and right, of the expansion of consciousness in its entirety. But at the same time, I think it was right about that same time, right, or that experience really shifted us both into that new focus of, okay, we're not here to learn how to leave the body. We're here to learn how to be in it fully. And that is what self-care is helping us do right now, is to be, instead of trying to not feel the way you're feeling, right? Integration can be uncomfortable. Absolutely. You might have headaches. You might have, have nausea. You might try to do natural things to ease these symptoms, but above all, just rest and do the things that feed your soul, that make you feel good, and just listen to your body, talk to your body. Like I said, talk to your DNA, have your DNA. Everybody do it right now as you're listening. Just say, hey, DNA, let's give the body support where it needs it. You're doing great. I love you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you very much. And your DNA will go to work. And I mean, I've noticed a marketable difference, like with my joint stiffness and just my overall. I've got so much more energy since I started, and it took a friend of ours, Summit, to remind me, oh, you can talk to these, you can talk to your body, you can talk to your DNA. I knew it years ago, and then in learning a lot of new tools, some things kind of fall away, and then they come back around, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this, and it's easy. So one thing I did want to offer too, it's like it's always easier than we think to thrive during these times versus the more you try to swim against the current, the more you try to fight the rapids, the harder it's going to be. I always tell people, well, and recently I started calling it, we want to be on the lazy river, right? We're not in the rapids. We're on the lazy river, and yes, there's going to be twists and turns, but you're safe on your big fat inner tube, and you're going to feel the twists and turns, but you're not going to fall off because you're going to be allowing them to come instead of in the water freaking out, so trying to go against the current. So yeah, did I
Yeah,
describe the Schumann? I hope I described the Schumann probably. But yeah,
you
it's
did.
just it's
Yeah,
measuring the planet at such a high vibration now. You cannot just explain this away. There's
yeah.
definitely something big going on.
Well, and what happens with her happens with us. I mean, her body is our body. Our
Yep,
body is earth. I mean, we're earth and cosmic, we're spirit and we're earth, and our body
right.
is earth, and we're creating that union between spirit and matter as we're going through ascension and really coming down and, like you said, embracing the physical body, embodying it with spirit, and then
Hmm.
these two become, one entity together. So I think that's the difference in the ways that we've lived in the past, where we didn't live, and for a long time. And I know there were other times on the planet
Hmm.
where the planet was highly evolved. And then it did shift
Right.
into a
Atlantis
cycle
and all
of,
that.
yeah, it
Hmm.
shifted into a cycle of more darkness. I want to say, like, I don't mean ignorance as a dig. I mean it as like a lack of information, like being
Right. It was
available,
like a reset,
being
right,
able to
of the
anchor, yeah,
species. Yeah.
within the space. So I don't, that isn't a dig by any means on any,
No, yeah.
humans throughout history at all. It's just, it's available now to us. And so those of us who have recognized, there are a lot of people on the planet that, and if you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you're one of them, have recognized that, wow, something huge is going on. I see it happening individually in my life. I see it happening in the collective. And then as soon as whoosh, you open up to that, you are noticing the upgrades, maybe subtly at
Hmm.
first and then bigger. And there are people who really are meant to integrate these through their physical vessel. And those are the people that notice it the most. There are some people that
Hmm.
anchor this energy more through transmuting energy in the physical body. And so they're
Right.
going to notice it more.
Just real quick, we can touch on what the collectives are going through, right? It's the divine masculines right now are being asked to be in their feminine more than ever because they're going into a deep healing now. And the healing space is feminine. The healing space is the void, is the darkness, is the creation space where you step out of there and you're anew, right? You are a different person every time you emerge from that feminine space. You're rebirthed every time you go through a deep healing. And so the masculines, we do try to avoid saying men and women because we do realize we're talking energy. We are not talking gender, but the masculines are truly, truly going through a deep feminine healing right now. And that is not something they've ever been allowed to do. And so it's difficult. It's not easy for them. And it is, and what I love is I'm seeing more and more men who are maybe a little farther ahead, have been doing it for a little while, are now turning around and teaching it and putting content out there. And I see it every day and it's beautiful. I love that the men, because I do feel like, and I write this in my book because I have all boys, right? I don't know what it's like to have a daughter, but when my children's father and I divorced, it's like they needed his guidance more than mine because they're masculines and he's a masculine. They needed to see him respond to the life change and create a new life, right? Like they needed to learn from him. And not that they can't learn from me, absolutely they can, but they needed to see that masculine emerge in him after that because, a divorce can be a rebirth as well, right? And so it's been a beautiful, I just wanted to mention that I've noticed that. I see you men and I love you and we're grateful for you for turning around and Angie and I always say you only have to be one step ahead to turn around and teach, to turn around and reach a hand out. You only have to be one step ahead of somebody to help them out. And so the men are really stepping up right now, and I think it's beautiful. I just wanted to give a shout out to all the men
Definitely.
who are
Go,
watching
Ben.
this. Go
Yes.
men, we love you.
Go,
And you have a
men.
son, you have a beautiful son, and he's going to be stepping into that beautiful energy too. If he hasn't already, I'm
Yeah.
sure he has already.
Oh, yeah. He definitely
Yeah.
embodies a lot
Their
of that
generation
energy.
is killing
Whether
it.
he's conscious of it or not, he definitely
Right.
does.
They're more embodied in general, right? Which is beautiful. So
Beautiful.
that generation.
I feel like I keep wanting, as you're talking, and we're talking kind of on the planetary level, I want to bring it down to like how this can happen in your individual level, in your own journey,
Oh,
just a little bit. I know we started there and
yeah.
then we went in big, and then I
Yes.
wanted to bring it
Yep.
down again, because I'm in my own integration experience right now from publishing my book. And I just want to explain how this can happen in your own life. And it can be related, of course, to the solar flares and the Schumann resonance and all that stuff's going on at the same time, and other planetary alignments, etc.
Right.
And also, you can have things happening in your own life where you are consciously shifting your vibration higher. So that could be a result of some type of healing, like Wendy mentioned, which, is moving into that feminine void space and going through an emotional healing process. You release a stuck emotion that is heavier, right? And then your vibration increases, and then you might have an integration phase, which is just you getting used to you at a new vibration. Then
Right. Right.
you can be tired, or you can just feel off, or everything can just feel like somebody took a snow globe and shook it all up, and you don't know which way any direction is, right? Like in a snowstorm. Like, I don't know if what's up or down. That's what integration can feel like. And it's just you shifted drastically in your frequency. And so everything doesn't look the same. And so things fall into place in your life in a different way because you're in a different vibrational space, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so, like, the book thing is a great example. Like, you wrote your book, I wrote my book, and then went through the publishing process. There's so many steps to that. You could relate this to
Hmm.
anything in your life, but I just want to relate it to this because this is what I went through. So, so the steps, and I love how you related it to your divorce, because there's a bunch of different steps of release there, of healing.
Absolutely.
Book
Yeah.
is the same way though. You're putting first, you get it all out of your body, right? Then you feel everything that had to do with what you just got out of your body, like all the emotions come,
Right.
right? Then there's the piece around being seen. Okay, now you have to be seen like you have to be seen as this message, like as the person that embodies this message.
Mm.
So there's an
Yep.
embodiment piece that happens, right? Like you come into integrity with it, what it is that you're about to publish into the world. And you're in that phase right now. And then you actually put the work out there and you're being seen, and you feel that too. You feel when people read your words. You can
Hmm.
feel that. And every stage increases your vibration exponentially, right? So every stage of healing, book is just an example of a healing process that you can go through, right?
Absolutely.
So
Oh, if
then
you
there's
want
an
if you want a
integration.
therapy, a deep
Yeah.
therapeutic upgrade, write your book.
Write your book, whether you publish it ever or not. I mean,
Right.
just
Yes.
every step, even in the first step, just getting it out of you is a huge upgrade. So then
Exactly.
I've been exhausted, kind of beating myself up. I love that we're doing this topic because I've been like, I really should be out there more. I should be doing this or that, shooting on myself, of course, which is,
Hmm.
and then finally coming to a place of surrender of like, you went through a huge 9-month healing process. You wrote you all the stages, and now you're here. So this could happen, and people that are listening, you could relate to this in any part of your life. Maybe you just left a job that you were at for 10 years and you're wondering why you're exhausted. Well, you went
Right.
through probably a million stages of healing within that 10-year process, and then you went through the letting go, which would be one of the final stages. And then your nervous system is recalibrating at this different level. You're going through an integration phase. So it's basically a
Hmm.
recalibration and taking you through your own individual pieces of your own individual ascension process now. So, like, we have the planetary one that's happening, but then on your level, you have your own that you're going through. All that you could
Exactly.
be going
Yeah.
through like 10 little cycles at once right now, right? It could
Absolutely
be.
right. And so many. And a lot of these bigger ones are wrapping up, right? And there's no gap, right? Like we talk about this a lot. It's like 10 and 1 are the same number when you're pulling
Mhm.
tarot, and when you're pulling it's an ending and beginning. It's the Ouroboros, right? It's the snake eating itself. It's the reinvention. We're constantly reinventing ourselves, and
Mhm.
there's no gap in between. But what happens is as soon as you have that breakthrough and you fully let go, that's when you're in the new, and that's when you integrate. So it's kind of like at the beginning. It's like when you go into, for some reason, they just, I just saw in my mind's eye, it's like they showed me like a huge lobby. Like, okay, we found the building. We found the new building. We're in the lobby. We're in the lobby. We're waiting for a while. We're going to get to know people in the lobby for a while before we go up the stairs or take the elevator or explore the rest of the building. We're going to hang out in the lobby and get used to how that feels and get used to who's there. before we, branch out. And that's okay. I feel like I often describe it as you've gotten to a party that you're meeting somebody there and they're the ones who know everybody and you beat them there. And so you're like standing against the wall going, I don't know anyone here, but I'm just going to wait for my friend, right? And so we kind of become the wallflower, and that's okay too, to assess the situation, and that's the integration phase. And so we've made it, right? Like even collectively, I feel like, you talk about too how it's we bring it all the way down to the human experience, because as within, so without, it's actually starting in here, right? And we are, as the collective, creating these cycles. Like we created this whole reality, right? And so we are in effect creating these cycles by the frequency, right, that we're emitting. And so as a collective, we're ascending, we're raising the vibe, and we are basically causing, and you could have totally different perspectives, and I can actually see it from both directions. But so we're causing it, and it is causing us to ascend, right? Because we are all connected. It's all connected. Quantum entanglement is real, and it's not something that we can opt out of. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's as within, so without. It's happening on every level.
Yeah.
And I love knowing that these bigger cycles are coming to an end, that we're in this new, and like you said, age of Aquarius. Age of Pisces is over. We have left it in the past. We did what needed to be done during that age.
Mhm.
And now we're in this age of Aquarius. And guess what Aquarius is all about? We've talked about this so much about for 2025, innovation, right?
Yeah.
Like the energy of Aquarius is innovation, is creating new ways to live and figuring out new ways to create the world that works for everybody instead of just a select few. And so we've talked about this a lot, with this year's energy. For 2024, I think
Mhm.
led us into this balancing of 2025. We can't ignore it anymore. We have
Yeah.
to be balancing that inner masculine and feminine, because now we realize that we can't settle for things in our lives that aren't balanced. Like so many relationships have ended because the balance wasn't there, because we're becoming more and more aware of it. And so balancing the internal, it's all an inside job, right? Balancing your energy internally is the key. And that's what you're doing, bringing us back to integration and the DNA. That's exactly what you're doing during these integration phases. And by allowing yourself, like if your body is at its limit, then it's telling you need to rest. And I've had clients who I'm like, well, when are you going to listen to the universe? Like they say, oh, well, I got sick, right? Or, oh, well, because you didn't listen, right? And I'm not trying to like be gloom and doom on anybody. Like you're not going to necessarily get sick if you ignore. But I always say the longer you ignore the whispers, the universe will drop a piano on your head, right? And as Angie and I both had pianos dropped on our heads. We're in definite major avoidance of that now, like
Yeah.
because of the awareness level we've reached. But we don't recommend waiting until the universe drops a piano on your head. It's not fun.
Mhm.
But it definitely does force you to look at what's going on and force you to make the changes. But we
Right.
don't have to be in that energy anymore of being ignorant, like you were saying, not in a, not in a, I'm not, name calling, but being ignorant and naive of what's going on simply because it's too scary to look at. Now we can actually look at it and prevent the pianos from falling
Mhm.
and listen, and we'll hear the whispers. But like I said, a lot of people will tell me, oh, I don't think I talk to my guides, they're not responding. Well, they're not responding because you don't need to be doing anything but resting.
Mhm.
Rest and eat nourishing food, or I'm actually a huge supporter of comfort food when you need it, and drink lots of pure, clean water, move your body, get out in the sun, get out in nature, find stillness, find solitude, and allow yourself to get used to that. I love the way you said it. It's you getting used to the new you, essentially, in the new space.
Mhm.
Like that's a beautiful, simple way to put it. Like this does not have to be complicated. Ascension literally is raising our vibration, and we're just in a transition phase right now, at the beginning of the age of Aquarius, of a whole new age of innovation and joy and abundance. And I don't know, Angie and I are really stoked about fully being in the age of Aquarius, about the things that we've worked through in the last, well, for us, decade, right? But even just the last 5 years. Oh my gosh. Like we talk about it all the time, how it's like, finally, like things start to fall into place that we've been, hoping for, thinking about, talking about for years. So here we go, y'all. It's time to hold hands, and we don't even have to jump, right? It's not even a we took that leap. We jumped. So
As a
now we're
collective,
now we're
yeah.
absolutely. So here we are,
Yeah.
starting to create the new world. And like you talk about too, it's already there, right? We're just
Yep.
we're just matching the vibration of it now.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we can see it, so we can live in it.
Exactly. Well, it always was there. Like every vibrational frequency always was there, but we have to
Yep.
consciously reach for it. We have to consciously think what that would look like in order to plug into it. But everything already exists. It
Right.
was already created. So,
Yep.
but it doesn't become a possibility, even though it exists as a possibility, but it only becomes a true possibility for you when you can first have the desire, which I think we talked about in another episode, for something, and then plug into
Mhm.
what the thought would be that goes along with that desire, because that's how we create is through desire and thought. And then
Absolutely.
enough of us have plugged into this reality that is heart centered, that is living off of your soul contracts along with being the creator of your reality. And then enough of us have plugged into that reality that we can shift into this new way of being, which already exists.
Right. It's like
So,
the 100th monkey. And if you don't
yes,
know, if
right.
you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a fascinating story about it. Not everyone needs to necessarily go through the tough, process, because
Mhm.
when enough of us do it, the frequency will just spread like wildfire across all of humanity. And so some souls just chose to kind of be along for the ride, right? And just
Mhm.
shift right on over. And that's beautiful too.
Yep. And yep. And then some of us are leaders in this experience. And then in some other game, we're the ones that just shift
Right.
on over. Yep,
In some
exactly.
other game, we're just the ones in what do we talk about the metaphor of we're in the grocery cart and our guides are just screaming through.
Like
Like
just
I'll
hang
just sit in
out,
the grocery cart.
right?
Yeah.
Blanket
I'll
over it.
just, yeah, I'm going to take a little
Good
nap
luck.
while they're doing all the work.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So yeah, so if you're
Yeah.
resonating with this, then you likely are one of those like Angie and I, like I always say, we're like Hermione in potions class, where we're like, when they asked for volunteers, we were like,
Yes.
because we want to go. And
Yeah,
then we were
yeah.
like, wait, what?
What's
We
the
saw
assignment?
wait,
Hold
what?
on.
What did we thought it was okay. We did
Let me
not
check
know
my
that that's what
calendar.
this was. Yeah.
I
Ooh, can I say no? No. Oh,
have to wash my
no,
hair.
we, ooh, I'm going to be out of town. But here we are. We came and we have seen and we are conquering. So
That's
it's
right. Some
beautiful.
days conquering more than other days.
Absolutely. Yeah. I highly recommend, if you're enjoying us and if you're enjoying this episode, go watch our energy update for the summer. I feel like we touched on a lot of the 2025 energy and what's coming and how to navigate. And the I have a friend who says, tarot shouldn't, or the energy, tuning into energy shouldn't run your life. It's just a guide, and it shouldn't tell you what to do, but show you what's coming so that you can thrive instead of being beaten up by it, right? There's no reason for us to be victims of ascension anymore, because we are driving it.
Hmm. That's right. Yeah, I love that. Yes, very good.
Yeah,
Very, very good.
cool.
And two, if you feel like you're someone that could use support during the energetic shifts, the Goddess Society exists for that too. So it's an amazing
Absolutely.
society of goddesses all on this journey together. And yeah, raising our vibration together, manifesting and expanding our intuitive gifts together. So you can check
And
that out on
sisterhood.
my website. Yeah, and we'll put the link for that below. So it's a
We
sister.
will. And sisterhood is so important right now. Like we need other women. I don't know about you, but I
Mhm.
I went through so much of my life without, really strong female friends. And now I'm creating that atmosphere, right? And Goddess Society helps. It kind of puts you in like instant soul sister family, right?
Yep.
And so yeah, it's beautiful. We need it. We need each other right now.
Thank you for being here. Check out our other episodes. Please like, subscribe, whatever your option is
Download,
for, yeah,
follow.
download on your platform, follow us, and we will catch you on the next episode, Goddess. Bye, goddess.
Bye, goddess.